Everyone, today I want to talk about my top 10 tips for baby registries. I know that for some people it is a little nerve-wracking and overwhelming, so I thought that me sharing a couple of tips with you guys will help somebody out. So tip number one is think about your lifestyle. When you're registering for things, think about what you actually need and want and then what fits into your lifestyle. For us, we decided not to have a bassinet, crib, and a play yard because we thought that all three of those things together was going to be way too much for us because we wouldn't use them all. And bassinets, babies usually grow out of those pretty quickly, so for us, we thought it would just be better to get a play yard with the built-in bassinet and changing station instead of getting a separate bassinet that stands alone by itself. So tip number two is to research your products and your stores. For your stores, I would say look at what type of perks they have. I know we decided to register at Amazon.com, Babies R Us, and Target. We chose Target because they have stores everywhere. We chose Amazon because it's easily accessible online for people who like to shop online. And some people do not like to go to stores, they just like to go online. As well as we have family and friends who do not live in our area, so it'll be easy for them to go online at Amazon and just get it shipped to our house. We chose Babies R Us because they had a vast array of products and it also came with a lot of perks. All three places that we registered at, they have closeout deals, so you get like 10 to 20% back depending on which one it is. They're all different, but you'll get 10 to 20% back like when you get closer to your due date for what people do not buy on your registry. And then we also like that at Babies R Us you can get 10% from everything that you buy on your registry. So we put the crib and the dresser on our Babies R Us registry, even though we knew most likely people were not going to buy those items, so that we can get 10% back of what we spend after the baby was born. So I would say just look at that. And then for products, I used a website that I'm going to link down below because I can't remember exactly the name of it, but I really love that website for choosing our stroller as well as our diapers. And then we also just went to YouTube after looking at that to see if people review those items that we chose, and that made everything a lot easier for us. And after you research the products that you like, if you're a list maker, I would say to go ahead and write it down on the list so you can remember it. I'm not a big list maker, but I did remember the products that I really knew that I really wanted to purchase. The ones that I didn't really remember, my husband did because he really wanted those products as well. So we kind of helped each other out because neither of us are really big list makers, but I do think lists can be very helpful. So tip number three is to actually go to a physical store. To me, I feel like just going online could be a little overwhelming because you don't really know those products unless you've been around babies a lot. You don't really know how they feel, how they work, what makes them more functional. So just go to an actual store so you can actually pick things up, play with them, move them around, see if they actually work very well. For example, the stroller that we wanted, I found a review online from a mom who said that it was really hard for her to navigate with one hand. And I know that might sound really silly, but just imagine like just having to do 10 different things at the same time, and which does happen when you're going out with your baby, and just trying to push it with one hand. And so all the other reviews that I saw on the stroller were really, really good, but I know that was just one just random thing. So when we went to the store and saw that stroller, we actually tried to push it on one hand, and you could not control that stroller with one hand. It was really, really hard. So, but they had a similar stroller that was only exclusive to Babies R Us, and we actually tested that out, and that was 10 times easier. I would say to at least go in, touch things, play with things, see how big they really are, because it's really hard to know how big things are when you just look at it online than when you actually go in the store and see it. So tip number 5 is to register for things that are a variety of prices. So I would say get things that are like cheaper and then things that are a lot more expensive, because different people have different budgets on what they can spend on you, as well as some people might want to be really generous and go in together and get you a really big gift. So I would say go ahead and register for those high ticket items as well as those lower price items as well. Because you also have those other people who like to buy a whole lot of things. Like I know I have a friend who likes to buy, like she likes to make little baskets of small things. She'll buy small little things and she'll put them all together. So I would say just have a larger variety of things on your registry, but of things that you will use, but have like different price ranges for them. And I will say not to focus on clothes, because people always buy clothes unless there's like a really nice jacket that you don't really think you would want to spend a lot of money on, and then you're like, oh, maybe somebody might like want to buy my baby a winter jacket, so that they would know that you need a jacket for your baby. But I wouldn't focus on clothes at all. So my next tip is not to write off hand-me-down items. I know not a lot of people like hand-me-down items, and some things I am kind of weird about myself, but I would say to at least be open-minded about them. For example, like we got our bouncer for $20 at Once Upon a Child, whereas at Target it was on sale for $60. So that's like to us that was like a big difference, and that was a really big benefit. And the bouncer that we got, actually it does not even look like it's been touched. Like I brought it home and washed it anyway, but the reason why we bought it in the store was because it looks like nobody ever used it. You never know what you can find. We just randomly went to that store because we never went there before, and we just found it. And then we just took it off of our registry because we already had it. And make sure you register for gender neutral items unless this is like your only child or you're not planning on having any other kids. I would say just go ahead and register for gender neutral things so you can use them in the future instead of continuously buying things over and over again. Especially for items that cost a lot more, like your stroller, your pack and play, a bouncer, a swing. Just think about that as well. I do have a friend who did not register for gender neutral products with her first child, and she regretted it the second time around because she did not want to use a pink stroller for her son. Tip number 7 is to ask a friend to look at your registry. If you can get someone who has a similar lifestyle as you or who understands your lifestyle to just look at your registry and give you tips, or to just sign into your registry, add things that they think you need on your registry that you do not have, or to give you advice to take things off that they never really used before. Just someone who you trust their opinion and who would not mind helping you out on your registry. Tip number 8 is to remember that you can always change your registry. Just because you registered for one thing this week and then you might change your mind next week and want to change it to something different, you have the power to do that. Most registries have links to online where you can just delete something off your registry and find something else to replace it, or just completely take it off, or you can just add something that you did not know that you needed at the beginning, but you discovered that you do need it. So do not stress out when you're putting something up there, because you can always change it later. So tip number 8 goes hand in hand with tip number 9, was just to remember that you can always return these items. Just keep the tags on them and don't wash them until you actually need them, and you can always return them. Make sure that you research everyone's return policy. I know for sure for Target and for Babies R Us, they give you a year after your baby's due date to return items that are still in their original packaging. So that's one thing that really gave us a relief with registering with those two registries. I know at Amazon it's not as long as that, but for those two it is. So don't get stressed out if you got like a swaddle and you thought you would like it, but you actually ended up hating it, or your baby hates being swaddled. Just don't open all of them if you have more than one, and keep the tags on them, and you can always return them later on down the road. Tip number 10, my last tip, is to call your insurance company. This was really big to me because I really had no clue at the beginning that I can just call my insurance company to see what is covered. And they let you know what you get discounts on, what they cover and what they do not cover. and my insurance company covered my breast pump 100%. So I did not have to worry about that at all. They just told me how to order it, how to get it, what I need to do, and I did exactly what they told me. So thank you for watching this video. I hope these tips were as helpful for you as they were for me. Just give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and if you have any more suggestions or comments or tips of your own, I'd love to hear them. Just put them down below in the comment box, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!